Welcome back to my channel. This is the PokeTechnician here, bringing you a Draft League video today. We are looking at the Squirtle Squad Premiere League and the draft and how it shook out. Kind of trying to rank everybody in tiers here in terms of how viable their team looks overall in the league. This is a singles draft league, by the way, guys, in the NatDex. It's a NatDex format, so. I'm here joined today by Neil from NeilVGC. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Good, man. Good to have you back on the channel. And Neil is competing in the draft as well as myself. So we're going to kind of take a look at what everyone decided to draft, whether they got the requisite pieces they need in terms of, you know, removers, hazard setters, their cores, all that good stuff. So yeah, Neil, what did you think about the draft?
Overall, most people's drafts are really good. I think there were like 20 people drafting at once, which means that it's pretty hard to get a good team. So I think overall, like even the D-ranked teams do have potential to do well if they're played well. And like I feel like for this, like C+ is probably like your team is average. Or not average, it just means it's good. So yeah, if you get a low rank, don't feel bad. Your team's still good.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should be feeling bad about their team. Like you said, this is really just about how the teams are comprised, not about the coaches themselves and their playing abilities and things like that. So there's a lot of potential for those lower ranked teams to really still take quite a few wins. Maybe we'll see some of them in playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Like if it was playing ability, Arun would be like S+++.
Oh, okay. You're really counting yourself out there, huh?
No, Arun's probably the best in this draft as of now.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything because we have already played about a week and a half so far, but yeah, I guess let's just jump right into it. So we're going to kind of just go in order of how the coaches appear down here, and I will pop between the documents so that you guys can see how their teams are looking. There have been a few trades, so I might be spoiling some of the trades if I move to their actual team screen, but just bear with us. It's not really that pertinent anyway, as team trades won't actually be usable until week 3, which has not occurred yet. So
yeah.
Speaking of which, let's jump into the doc and hop over to the Ottawa Superiors, which is Vincent's team. Oh, with a really fire logo there.
Yeah, best logo.
Best logo. Oh no, actually, wait till we get to Austin for best logo.
Oh wait, I've seen this one. It's yeah, Austin's is the best.
Austin's is the best. Yeah, you have seen that one. Okay. All right. So yeah, do you want to kind of pick apart the team real quick, see what he drafted? Yeah.
So Vincent's team derives around setting up sticky webs and then using Superior's contrary to prevent the opponent from going for a defog. Because there's not that many rapid spinners around, he utilizes like really strong attackers in sticky webs through Mega Medicham. Superior is really good, even Mimikyu is really good, and then he has a decent defensive combination of a Pylos, Mind Clearing, Slowking, and Polion's pretty good. So Valet is very flexible, Grimmsnarl set screens, and then Archeops is not that bad. Overall, because there's a lot of heavy-duty boots, his speed tiers aren't like the best, and also you could be able to hazard stack him and then try to overwhelm him with faster mons. And because of that, we decided to rank him. But because of that, we decided to rank his team as a C+, so still very good. And like the level of team is something you'd expect to get out of this draft. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're saying, we went 20 deep in the draft. It's a snake-style draft, so I mean, depending on where you're at in the draft order, it could be really difficult for you to find synergy. I think what Vincent did here is really good. He's got Defiant and Empoleon, like you, I think, like you mentioned, also contrary superior, so that's really nice. Yeah, Mega Medicham supported by Sticky Webs is super powerful. Silvally is great. Silvally is actually a really good bargain pick, I think, in this draft. Obviously a really good defogger and can be any type, so.
Yeah, it's a good defensive piece through like Parting Shot.
Yeah, gets those U-turns, parting shots, gains your team initiative, things like that.
Yeah, he only has really one like very strong attacker to take advantage of it. Like Superior doesn't have that high of a special attack stat, so yeah.
Correct. I think it's sitting at a base 75 or something like that, so nothing insane.
Yeah, it's like worse than Talonflame's attack.
Oh yeah, I drafted it last season, so I know it has a low attack, but I know the amount of work it can put into with just one Leaf Storm setup with Contrary. Surprisingly, it's a very good support mon too. It does get dual screens. It does get defog actually too.
Yeah.
So of course, Leech Seed, Synthesis Glare has a great move to paralyze any type that you want to.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than electric types, of course. Otherwise, his pieces are, I mean, Piloswine is a great low tier pick. You know, it can be fairly bulky and set up rocks is what it's mainly used for, but it can get some good stuff done with ice shards against quad weak opponents.
Yeah. So overall, a pretty decent team, very deserving of a C+.
I think so, and I think it does fill those cores that we're looking to fill with. I believe he has a. Does he have a fire type? No, he does. Turtonator, down low.
Turtonator isn't really...
No, but it can be a good defensive check for certain mons. So as you can see, we have week 1 filled out already. He did get a kill with Turtonator last week, so...
Yeah.
Don't sleep on it, don't sleep on it. But for now, we are going to put Vincent in the C+ tier.
As it loads, yeah.
There we go.
Next is Arun. So let's look at his team.
Alright, so let's see. He's
Super Swamperts.
Oh, he's Super Swamperts this season. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right next to Vincent. That's pretty convenient.
Perfect.
Okay.
So yeah, we got a classic Arun team here. He's going for the Stally Zapdos or even offensive Zapdos, but the rain. The rain is what we're really looking at here, right?
Yeah. Overall, if you look through Arun's team, if this was like a ladder tournament, this would definitely be S. But because it's a draft, Rain is somewhat exploitable. Like Arun had Rain last season, and it got pretty exploited by Paul. So yeah,
that was kind of funny. That was kind of an interesting situation. I agree with you. Rain is very, very strong, and especially the way that Arun's designed his team, because we're gonna see another Rain team on this list too. That I won't say where it stacks up versus Arun's team, but
Arun's is very good.
It's very good.
Have during the rain. Like Swampert's a very good defensive monster. Zapdos synergizes really well defensively, and then he has offense and side guard. Shedinja's very annoying. Ferrothorn, Magnezone, Chestnut. Like all these are really good.
You can tell he really put a lot of thought into this versus maybe the other one, because we have things like Dubwool here who have the ability that's going to be able to be exploited by like fire type moves, but he also has the rain to negate the fire. You know, it's little thoughts, and Magnezone is the same situation.
Yeah, and then Shedinja's just very good on rain. Like if you've been playing VGC right now, Shedinja's been being run on Kyogre teams, and it's very, very annoying. Here does a similar role, just not as well.
Yeah, not quite as
really
strong.
Good.
It's tough, but the thing about in singles is like if you can keep Shedinja in the back and whittle down the checks that are potential for Shedinja, then it can have a heyday, you know, as long as they don't have any status moves or anything like that. But
yeah, and because of this, that rain is slightly exploitable, but Arun's draft is very good. We decided to put him in A tier.
Yeah, we did end up placing him in A tier, which is the second highest tier. Definitely some lobbying for him to be in S tier, but just
if it was a ladder tournament.
Yeah, S tier if it was a ladder tournament for sure, and I think that our S tiers are going to be pretty limited in general, as you'll see throughout this video. But anyhow, I guess we can move on to Steve,
Wendy, Phillips, I think.
Steve, Wendy, Jean-Philippe. He is now in the Unova division as the Kaiser Kingdras. We're going to see more logos later on, guys, I'm pretty sure. But we got a couple blank logos here. And mine's blank, too, I'm pretty sure. But Steve, I played him week 1. And he's got a very interesting team. It doesn't seem that scary on paper, actually. But it does have a good amount of balance to it. You're seeing things like the very powerful Mega Beedrill, Battle Bond Greninja, super, super powerful. Arcanine, I think it's a lot better in draft than it actually is on the ladder.
Because that's my personal opinion. Offensive, but you can also run heavy-duty boots and teleport.
Teleport is what I feared this game, and he ended up not bringing it at all, actually. But yeah, I mean, it has the option to go for a special set too, you know, with things like Scorching Sands and Hidden Powers too in NatDex.
Like if you look at his defensive core, like Arcanine, Clefable, Quagsire, Weezing, Sarina, and Druddigon, that actually forms a pretty good core. And then he has the ability to like set spikes and toxic spikes, which is really good for really strong fast attackers in Greninja and Mega Beedrill. Also, Greninja can also set hazards, which is really nice. And then the fact that he has a pretty good defensive core is not like you can't really see it right at the start, but after you really like dig deep into it, you'll realize his attackers are slightly like
not as powerful for the most part, except for the top two there.
Yeah, they're also like slightly fragile, and also his game plan's like pretty like much the same every game, right? Like you pivot into your strong attackers and then you kill everything. Also, his defensive core isn't like completely the best, right? Like Arcanine's recovery isn't very reliable. Sarina isn't like the bulkiest. Clefable is only like his really good defensive one because Quagsire can get exploited in draft, and because of this, we decided to tier him B-.
Yeah, so a pretty good showing, honestly, with a B- tier. I have to agree. It's funny because like when you actually at first, as you look at his team, it's not that strong. It's got a lot of similar types, mons that seem more fragile in general, but as you actually try to game plan for it, I'm sorry, it was B-, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. As you actually start to prep for it, you realize that there's different things he can slot in to really screw you up. So I think it depends a lot on his week-to-week team composition.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's more one-dimensional, but it's also like really, really good. So besides putting B-.
Definitely a solid team, definitely. And so that's B- makes it to the top half. Basically, B- is top half, C+ and lower is bottom half. So
yeah.
Next up, we've got Jonathan, aka Mr. Fish. A reintroduction to the draft league for him. He's been off for a little while, I know, but
yeah, super cool dude.
Really nice guy, and he has a really a pretty good team here. Let's see, Provo Mudkips, that's him. And as you can see, he went with the Mega Gardevoir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's bringing things like Mega Gardevoir, a very scary offensive threat, and it's in and of itself. Manaphy, obviously amazing with Tail Glow setup. He has always been a big fan of Goodra, so Goodra, awesome, really good in draft format. Can't do a lot of utility things like defogging or setting, but has just an amazing move pool. Bisharp, of course, threatening, but what we realized, I think, while we looked at his team, I wanted to rate him a skosh higher than I think we will end up putting him at, but because he has a lot of really good cores and requisite pieces, but his team is pretty dependent on setup, I think.
And also, he really needs to get the sticky webs though for Gardevoir, Manaphy, stuff to put in work. He does have Bisharp to prevent defog, but like overall, also his only like really good hazard remover is Articuno, and Articuno can get exploited in draft. It's a lot better than what it looks like, but it's still only Articuno, and then Galarian Weezing can get worn down. So his team is like decently prone to hazard stack, and also he really has to take advantage of his sticky webs, which is hard when heavy duty boots is everywhere.
Yeah, and that's the problem with certain teams, like you mentioned about the heavy duty boots or just Articuno being the best defogger in general, is like when you can make a Pokemon on an opponent's team one-dimensional, it really, really limits what they can do in the draft format. Yeah. So I think that is a valid complaint about his team, which I believe we did place his team in the C+ tier.
Yeah, his team is like, in terms of composition, I feel like it's slightly better than Vincent's, but still C+.
Yeah, I think that the actual ways that the cores shake out and the Mon selection is a little bit more in your face and strong. But yeah, just the way that you can execute it against, you know, a lot of draft games are going to be often a little bit longer because you can plan for your opponent, so you can check things defensively. And I think that'll be what kind of can bring this team down, as well as its speed tiering, having Infernape as its fastest Pokemon.
Yeah, like my plan versus this team is just Hazard Stack and Zero Aura. Yeah,
exactly. Like you already have a Mon that outspeeds his whole team, so.
Yeah, like I can just Hazard Stacks and play Zero Aura, well, I should be okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, like you said, that's not, you can't just broadly say that that's going to be something that will take care of him, but I mean, it's a good plan. It's definitely a small weakness in his team for sure.
Yeah, but it's still a good draft. Like you look at his Mons, it's still a good draft.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. All right, so moving on, we are now looking at Paul, who is the coach of the, what is it, Ohio Oshawotts, I want to say. Definitely is the
I think so,
Ohio
yeah.
team. Also in the Galar division. Let's see here as we scroll along. Oh, this is
It's
Unova.
probably in the Galar.
Oh, it's definitely in Galar. Yeah, Ohio Oshawotts. So I've been actually doing mocks with Paul the last 2 weeks. So gotten to have some good respect for Paul. He's a really nice guy.
Paul's super nice.
Yeah. So what do you think about his mega pick?
His mega is very, very, very good. Like, it can be exploited, but since it's an offensive mega, like, its weakness doesn't matter as much. Like, I'm pretty sure Hidden Power Steel Greninja still needs to be really invested to kill, so yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. I mean, you got things like Bullet Punch Sizz and Mega Sizz, of course, that are going to be able to really threaten it. It's also a very good rocker and is nice for switching in versus mons that want to status you or set up their own hazards with the Magic Bounce ability. You do have to make sure it's Mega before you can do that, of course, but...
Yeah.
Anyhow, obviously a huge threat with Kyurem. Really nice tier 1, just kind of all around has some nice bulk to it, can hit you pretty hard on the special side. Another Defiant Mon with Zapdos.
Which is nice because he has webs.
The Galar version. Yep, exactly. Just another way to ensure it gives you a lot of different factors that your opponent needs to consider when they're prepping for you. So really nice. Kamala, great spinner as well. Crocodile has that Intimidate. Rotom Fan, kind of one of the lower tier Rotoms, but not bad in and of itself, as it is, a flying type with Levitate. Tapu Bulu can set up the terrain if you want to do something with like a Grassy Seed, and then Chandelure, it's a good mon.
Yeah, it's overall solid, especially with webs.
I think one of the main issues I have with this is the same as the last one. Its speed tiering is not quite perfectly on point. Otherwise...
Yeah. And also, outside of a Diancie, Kyurem, and Zapdos, you really don't have too many like mons that will come and really make a big impact.
Yeah, I mean, you can see things like a Moxie Crocodile with a Scarf, or if you
like,
get your webs up as well, potentially.
Yeah, like Bulu's very good too, but like overall, it's more like he has some big mons, and then after that, the speed tiers are kind of off. And how else do I want to put this? Like Sticky Webs isn't reliable in draft at all, or even in OU.
No, Sticky Webs, I mean, it had its time and place where it was really good on certain teams, and it is still, usable for sure, but I think that expanding Defog to a lot of different mons, the addition of new mons with Rapid Spin and Defog have definitely nullified its power a little bit.
Yeah, also his hazard removers can be, like, his team can be worn down more quicker than usual other teams, right? Because he has, like, Roost, Kyurem, and then Synthesis, Tapu Bulu, and outside of that, like Rest Talk.
That being said, I do think that he has some mons that are really, really nice as perhaps a Choice Scarfer. I mean, Choice Scarf Chandelure with webs is great. Choice Scarf Crocodile with or without webs is great.
Yeah, and then Zapdos is like a premier Choice Scarfer. For
sure. Yeah, Zapdos could definitely serve a role as a Choice Scarfer. So definitely lots of threats in terms of ways he can up his speed tier to counter opposing teams, but there's opposing Scarfs too, so you got to be aware of that,
Yeah. So I think overall, because of that, we gave him a C tier. We don't know if like he's like the best C plus or not best C plus, but like he's C plus.
I believe we ended up putting him in C plus, so we will we'll stick with that. And I do think he is pretty deserving. I think these three teams are very similar in my opinion in how they play. So
they're also pretty strong. Like it's not easy to prep for them.
No, not at all. Yeah, and like I was saying with Steve, like even more not easy to prep for almost. Like yeah, it might not look as strong for some reason as these other teams, but then you go up to start prepping for it and it's just, more difficult than you expect. So next up, we're jumping into your team. It's your team.
Yeah, let's look at my team.
Let's jump over here to the Twin Leaf Piplups. You are in Unova, aren't you? Or no?
Yeah.
Are you in Unova?
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So, going into the draft, I didn't really have that many expectations. Like, I've won the last 2 seasons, so I don't really like care as much. But I ended up getting a really good draft, so I do want to break that down.
Yeah.
A bit, not really, but like, yeah.
I think so too. I think it's pretty strong.
Yeah, like if you look at my draft, like Mega Altaria, Zero Aura, Gliscor, Slowking, Melmetal, and then Torrent Greninja, that's like something you'd see like on the ladder.
Minus the Torrent Greninja, but I mean, yeah, you got to do
Yeah,
what you got to do, right?
yeah. And then on top of that, you have like Talonflame, Hitmonlee, Venomoth, Miltank, and Cryogonal. Like between Cryogonal, Talonflame, Venomoth, and Hitmonlee, and even Gliscor, I have really good hazard removal. I also have ways to set hazards, right? Like Rocks, Gliscor, Rocks, Miltank, Torrent Greninja. Slowking's a really good pivot into Zero Aura, right? Like I can pass future sights. Altaria fills so many different roles. It's also really good defensively, like the core of Altaria, Gliscor, Slowking. And then Miltank and Cryogonal give extra value. But I think another place where the team shines is Slowking can set Trick Room from Melmetal, and Melmetal hits really, really hard. And then Talonflame, between Talonflame, Zero Aura, Greninja, and Cryogonal, I have pretty nice speed. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Overall, we just, and also have pretty nice setup through like Calm Mind, Slowking. Altaria is a really good setup, and then Venomoth is actually a really, really strong setup on.
See, I was gonna kind of call you out for that, but I didn't want to give any good strats away. But Venomoth is super slept on. I mean, when you look at a Mon with Tinted Lens, getting Quiver Dance, and has a base 90 speed, it can do quite a bit. I mean,
yeah, because like I can put heavy duty boots on it, run Roost, Quiver Dance, Bug Buzz, right? Because it's Tinted Lens, the last move can literally just be Defog or Toxic Spikes.
I mean, you could even put some coverage in there if there's something that's really strong, especially defensive, you know, just to check that. But I mean, yeah, Venomoth it's all terrain, you know. If you put the HDB on it, it's all terrain, baby. So Mega Altaria and Gliscor, like you worry about ice weakness, and then you just see Slowking, Greninja, which doesn't want to take hits, but also Miltank with thick fat, you know.
And then Melmetal.
And Melmetal.
Really thick.
Yeah, you're not gonna want to be sending ice attacks Melmetal's way. So.
Yeah. So overall, because of this team's slow mode, fast mode, and like it's pretty hard to prep for, in my opinion, we decided to put it S. It wasn't actually biased. Like we both did our tier list before, and we sent each other a tier list, and we both had me in S. So.
This was literally the only team that we both decided was an S tier team. Yeah. Aaron was probably the next closest to S tier, I think.
Like I originally had Arun as S, and then I think you had him as A, and then we just debated over it, and then we put Arun in A. But yeah, I do think my team's S tier. Maybe I can win third title in a row, but we'll see.
We'll see. I think if you put enough work in, you definitely can.
Yeah, but you know, I got my VGC stuff to do.
I'll be looking out for you in playoffs. That's for sure. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if I can make it
Hopefully. Hey,
Alex. So next up, we got Alex. Yeah. So Alex is the North London Lucarios, which is going to be in Galar. London Lucarios. All right. Oh no, wrong one. Sorry. Oh, North. That's why North London Legends. That's why. Okay.
Such
there's
similar names.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Alex, he decided to start things off with Mega Aggron, which I mean, that's definitely flashbacks to A Drive back in, I believe it was
Season 5.
Season GBA. Yeah.
Season 5, yeah.
GBA Season 5? Was it 5 or 4? One of the two, yeah.
It was 5. 4, he kind of choked the final.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So yeah, the cool thing now is that you've got some more threats to pair with Mega Aggron, like Urshifu Single Strike, which is especially threatening as we have allowed Wicked Blow in this league, which is a pretty controversial decision for sure, but...
I think it's fair.
I think it's reasonable. I do personally think it's reasonable. Like it requires you to go Scar for, you know, to get your attack off certain things, but...
And Urshifu, in my opinion, wasn't as strong as people made it as before. Like, I always ran Conkeldurr and Slowbro together back when Urshifu was even used, so...
Yeah. Urshifu, don't get me wrong, I think it's a huge threat, especially with Wicked Blow, honestly. Like, but if you can plan for it correctly, that's what Urshifu does for this team, is it makes it difficult to plan for it, because you focus so much time and energy on it, you know.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're seeing things like Sylveon, which is great alongside Mega Aggron, as Mega Aggron's gonna easily resist steel type moves, be immune to the poison type moves. You've got Rotom-Mow, Jellicent, some nice bulk going on there, along with Gligar. Rapidash Galar, not my favorite, but I mean, I'm looking at the score right now that I haven't even seen, and it got 3-0 last week, so good for Rapidash. It
does deal damage.
It deals damage. That it does. Especially if you can band it, if you have the opportunity to band it, because it has a decent speed tier.
Yeah, for sure.
Torn T, obviously just off the charts amazing. I can't sing the praises of Torn T enough.
Yeah.
Salamence, just a solid mon, obviously a really high tier pick, but in the right situations it's nice. Salazzle, kind of a more background mon, but the corrosion ability is nothing to laugh at. And Masquerain, along in the vein of Venomoth, can do Quiver Dance shenanigans, so.
Yeah. So overall, like he does have a lot of bulk on his team through like Gliscor, Aggron, Sylveon, Jellicent, and Rotom-Mow, but it can be exploited, right? Because only Gligar and Jellicent can really heal up like reliably, and then Tornadus can regenerate, but at that point like running Salamence with it isn't as nice because 3 ice weaknesses along with Rotom-Mow. His offensive mons like are good, but still do lose to like the faster offense.
That's what I was gonna say, is his offensive mons are kind of on the slower side, so yeah. I do think that is one of the more exploitable aspects. Obviously, Galarapidash, one of the faster offensive threats, so good for him for utilizing it well, it looks like.
And then Salazzle and Torn T are his faster mons. But at that point, like he really has to run Gligar like most weeks, and at that point, do you want to be running Gligar, Torn T, and Rotom-Mow? So.
Yeah, not even to take mention of Salamence, which is a great mon and actually can be quite defensive in the right situations.
Yeah, Salamence is a good defensive mon.
You mentioned healing, and I mean, Salamence also does get Wish, as well as Sylveon, which you didn't say, but...
And you also get Roost on Salamence.
And you also get Roost, of course, so...
Like, people are playing Salamence as an Urshifu Rapid Strike check in OU, so...
There you go, yeah. It definitely has its uses, but I think that... he's going to be hard-pressed to put some of the mons he wants on the same team, since they do share a lot of weaknesses. And like you mentioned, the offensive speed tiers are not necessarily where you would want them to be in terms of mixing it up a bit.
Yeah, I know. I think his team's more prone to getting overwhelmed, but it's still a pretty solid team.
Definitely a great team, and I do love his defensive cores in general a lot, so...
Yeah.
I think originally I had him ranked quite highly.
Yeah, but then we slowly moved him down to C-.
Yeah,
it's still a good team.
It is. And yeah, like we said, this has nothing to do with how you are as a player, because there's people who can really reach deep into like these move sets and make the plays that need to be made to win games. So
yeah,
that is what it is. But just for the sake of looking directly at his team, we are going to put Alex at a C-. So next up is me. I have to say, before we move into ranking my team, that you've shamefully misspelled my name, unfortunately.
Oh my.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's just a typo. Oh god.
I don't know. The A and the E buttons are not that far away, but it's okay. It's okay.
That's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. People have forgotten about me. Let's see. As they should, based on my week 1. No.
Oh my. Okay, let's look at your team though.
Let's just pull it up here. So, I decided to go for Mega Aerodactyl as my mon to build around this draft. Mega Aero has it's the premier speed tier Mega for sure. There's no doubt about it. I believe it is the fastest Mega, bar none.
Yeah, it's also really, really strong. Like,
Also,
it can Dragon Dance too.
It can now Dragon Dance, which is, and Home Claws, which is actually surprisingly nice for its moveset, because you are dealing with things like Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Dual Wing Beat, etc. Also, it has the Tough Claws ability, further boosting its already insane attack. It can defog, it can roost, it can take usually 1 hit from most anything that's not set up. So.
But what's good about your team is that you don't have to run rocks on an Aerodactyl. You can just run like Roost, Dragon Dance, 2 attacks, because you have other options in Donphan and Jirachi. And that brings me into your defensive core. Jirachi, Rotom Wash, Florges, and Amoonguss form a really nice core.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, along with Incineroar, those are all just really mons that you feel like you could just put all those mons on a team, you know what I mean? It would be really good. Now,
and they can pivot around and get Aerodactyl into position.
Yeah, my team is extremely pivoting based, I've noticed, even just prepping for the first 2 weeks. And if you can make the right calls, it's really, really great. I mean, you've got Jirachi with U-turn, Rotom Wash with a Volt Switch, Noivern with U-turn, you've got Incineroar with Parting Shot, Passimian with U-turn, so...
Yeah.
Some really good stuff going on there. Pissimian is there for the Defiant ability for the most part. You can Scarf it, you can Band it if you're looking to get rid of certain things that are in a lower speed tier than you.
Yeah.
Florgist is, I mean, lots of defog here too, which, I mean, like I said, Mega Arrow, Rotom Wash, Florgist, Noivern, and you do have Spin with Donphan as well, so.
Yeah, mainly Rotom Wash and Florgist are really good for you as defoggers because you don't know which one's coming. And both of them are like equally good for you.
Exactly, and I mean, I think you can make an argument for Noivern if you're looking for like a pivot defogger or something like that.
Like a more aggressive one.
Yeah, I think it not even more aggressive offensively, but just in the way to get yourself in situations and make your opponent second guess what button you're going to click next with it. But
so overall, we decided to rate you as A because you don't have as much offensive presence as I do on the faster side, and also even on the slower side, I think I have more offense, but overall your team's still very good, so we decided to put you A.
Yeah, I would agree. And Mega Aerodactyl is going to have to put in a lot of work offensively. Florgist is great, especially Noivern too, but yeah, we need not ramble.
Slightly less powerful than mine.
Definitely lower than an S tier, even self-diagnosing in my own opinion. I could even see myself down in maybe a B+ tier, but I do think the team has really good synergy.
Yeah, we both put you at A, so.
All right, moving on, we've got Brooke here, yeah. So let's see.
Long time buddy.
Long-time friend, really great helper in our front office and our council, so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Brooke is Garchomps, Unova division for sure.
Dude,
if you see it, call it out to me. Yeah. Maybe it is. Okay, maybe it is actually over here in the Galar division. Perfect. All right. So what are you seeing from Brooke's team here, since I kind of rambled on about my team for a while?
Brooke has a pretty solid core in Corviknight, Garchomp, Gallade, and Primarina. But after that, that's like pretty one-dimensional, and then after that, I feel like it's slightly lackluster. Like Zora can put in work, Entei can put in work, but it's very, very one-dimensional. It can be worn down pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think it has a lot of the right ideas going on. The cores are all there, I think.
And it doesn't have enough offense to make up for its lack of like good defense.
And I mean, as much as I love Mons, like Zoroark's a great Mon, I think it's, even despite its ability, it's easily taken advantage of a lot.
Yeah.
It's lacking priority, it's got a good speed tier, but it's very frail. And Wigglytuff is... I've seen Wigglytuff used in draft by Under the Radar before, and as great as he is, it's not very viable.
Wigglytuff's pretty bad. Like I actually got it the previous season or the season before. The previous season got canceled, but the other season that finished, I got it. I was testing out Wigglytuff to use in playoffs, and it was so passive that was actually bad. Like it was far too passive. Like basically, I went for a Dazzling Gleam in front of Weavile in a practice match. It set up Sword Stance, and it swept my entire team, so... Yeah.
The thing about Wigglytuff is it's not strong enough to be offensive, and I mean, it's very difficult to get it set up so that it can be offensive, and it's super slow too, and it's not bulky enough to be defensive at the same time,
yeah,
so...
It's just passive. Like, it's not like Chansey that can actually, like, take a bunch of hits from something that sets up. Like, this thing just, like...
To be fair, it's a tier 5, I believe, so I mean, I won't knock it too much. Sandslash is a much better tier 5 in my opinion. I think Sandslash is actually, I'm glad that she picked that up.
Yeah.
Ended up leaving Scyther behind, which she has Swallow for, so I don't think that she really necessarily needed Scyther as well.
Yeah. But overall, like, because of these reasons, we decided to put her C-. Good draft, but like, slightly less than a C+.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the speed tiers aren't anything to really blow your mind. But we will throw her in, so that's 2 C- in a row, wow. It's weird because it seems like they're just like one after another almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, a very good team nonetheless. I think this can put a lot of offensive pressure on. Corviknight's a great defogger, but in Draft League, not as strong as you would see in the OU tier.
Yeah, it's still going to be like her premier defogger she can bring every week to wall like 3 or 4 Pokemon on the opponent's team, but like...
Yeah, is it weird to say that a bird would be pigeonholed into something? Because it's kind of pigeonholed into defogging.
Yeah, but it's so good at it that you like basically want to run it as that every week, but... but
You have to almost. Exactly, exactly. So it's good in that regard, but almost one-dimensional too. Kind of funny.
yeah.
Roserade, though, really good mon. I don't know if we really talked
Roserade's
much about it.
Also, her team is very similar, kind of similar to Matt Harris from last season.
Yeah, maybe
But
she
Matt
took
Harris
some
had
notes
other
out of that
mons
book.
That made it really good.
Yeah.
Like he had a Dragapult and Slowbro on there.
Right, and the thing about Dragapult is just the blistering speed, nice offensive pressure all the time, so. But anyhow, moving on, we're going to take a look at Jamie and the Birmingham Buzzwole.
Oh, our boy Jamie.
Jamie. Oh, I love the guy. Let's see.
Jamie's great.
Really good paddler, really good paddler.
Yeah.
We got 2 weeks of Jamie logged in already, unfortunately, for spoiler alerts, but
Oh well.
yeah, so Jamie went with, I think, what's basically widely believed to be the first or second best Mega in the format, which is Mega Lopunny.
Yeah, he was also first pick, and he just took Lopunny.
Yeah, he you know, as you do, when you have the opportunity to do something like that, you're going to want to take it. And I don't think he used Mega Lopunny before in a NatDex, so he bolstered it with Tapu Coco, another... now, Tapu Coco, in my opinion, like if... no, just in general. Tapu Coco is almost worthy of a #1 pick.
Yeah, Tapu Coco hits really, really hard. It gives you defog, it gives you really fast pivot, it gives you a lot of different things. And paired with Lopunny, it's a very, very strong offensive core.
I agree, yeah. And I mean, it can give you the opportunity to mess with the terrain and things too, because terrains are going to be pretty valuable in this draft, I do feel.
And he also has Hawlucha to pair with it. And like, you might be like double fighting, but the thing is, it's double fighting and both of them are offensive, right? So you can utilize Hawlucha to like break something that's that walls Lopunny, and then Lopunny can go in. Like you can go for like Sword Stance and then go for a super effective move into like a really bulky psychic type.
Yeah, or the reverse if it has to be, you know what I mean? Like you can pivot Lopunny into Tapu Coco, set up the terrain, get out into Hawlucha, and clean up if that's the situation you're in.
He can take advantage of the overwhelming factor between those two. And then he has a really good pivot in Slowbro. Audino's actually good.
Yeah, for tier 5, Audino is kind of a steal.
Yeah.
That's a close tier 4 in my opinion.
Yeah, and then Miss Magius is a good offensive mon, like paired with what he has. And then Nidoqueen can be a good defensive mon, and then Pert's a pretty good defensive mon too.
Yeah, the cool thing about Miss Magius, like you mentioned, is that it has the levitate ability and it's also immune to normal type moves. So it's got double immunity. It's got a really nice speed tier, special defense, and special attack. So
yeah, it also has nasty plots, so
does also get access to nasty plot. And yeah, his pivoting is just really nice, like you mentioned. Lopunny, Tapu Coco, Slowbro, Swampert. I mean, it's Hawlucha even gets U-turn, but and Rotom Heat, of course. I mean,
Rotom Heat's so good on his team.
Yeah, Rotom Heat really kind of solidifies his cores there, I think. So
yeah, I think between his defensive mons, it's not like completely.
This is one of those teams that if you just look at it on paper, it looks threatening, in my opinion.
His defenses are slightly exploitable, and his offense isn't completely. Like, it doesn't hit everything as hard as you want it to hit everything. And because of that, we put him as A tier.
Yeah, just one step below the S tier. If I had to kind of put my 2 cents in, I'd say it's probably somewhere in the mid to low A tier, but these aren't really in any specific order, so don't take too much into that. All right, so next up we got Bam. Have we even ranked any of the PTG guys yet?
I think Alex.
Oh, yeah, Alex. Is he in PTG?
I'm not sure. I feel like, but like you never.
No, I know. Well, I know it's Bam, Andy, Anders, and Kasim. I think are the 4 main ones. I don't know if Alex. Maybe he is associated with them. I'm not sure.
Let's look at Bam.
Yeah, let's take a peek at Bam, who is the coach of the Mighty Psyducks. Very first team on here, I know.
Bam and the memes.
Bam and the memes, man. You can only expect there to be more after this video, trust me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Bam took a also very fast and very powerful Mega in Mega Zam. Mega Zam also is allowed Nasty Plot in this league, which I think is maybe something that influenced his decision.
Yeah, Nasty Plot Zam is just like, no.
It's very good, but it isn't able to hold the Focus Sash. Which is kind of what influenced our decision on this. If you're going to be able to spend a turn to set up, I mean, that's on you. And I think really good players will be able to do that. So He does have Kartana for physical offensive pressure. Komodo has a plethora of uses, you know, rocker, setup, special, physical, all kinds of cool stuff. Defensive, of course.
Yeah, his defensive core now, Komodo, Slurpuff, Togetic, and I guess Alolan Muck is very exploitable.
Yeah, it's not the strongest, but it's really not the strongest, to be quite frank. Alolan Muck is almost one of the best defensive, it's almost the best out of the gambit there.
Yeah, because it can actually deal some damage, unlike Togekiss.
Well, and it can also recover by recycling and do shenanigans like that.
Yeah,
so.
But overall, since the team's like really offensive, it would be good on ladder, right? Because you can just blow stuff back. But in draft, you can actually prepare for it, and I don't mean prepare for it defensively, but prepare your own offense to blow this back.
Right.
And then utilize your defensive switch-ins to maybe get 1 or 2 good switch-ins.
Yeah.
And now that basically gives you the edge in like a really fast-paced team. But since he has Ditto, it makes up for some of it, but still.
That's what I would say about what you were saying about his defensive cores is that the really nice thing, or the really poor thing is that none of them are really easy to switch into attacks a lot of the time.
Yeah, like Slurpuff's gonna die to like 2 hits a lot of the time. Komodo
might take
like
a few,
Alolan Muck too, and then
Komodo doesn't have recovery, so that makes it difficult for him to kind of have longevity in terms of switching him into attacks. So.
And also, he doesn't have screens to support Komodo setup. I mean, he might actually, no, Meowstic.
Meowstic, yeah.
Meowstic he can set screens, get Komodo, but like after, and then maybe like Belly Drum Slurpuff. Outside of that, his setup isn't very as high either.
No, not so much. And I mean, yeah, Darmanitan's now sitting there. I think he actually traded for that. But yeah, a good potent offensive threat, but gonna have to be scarfed a lot of the time or Life Orb, yada yada yada. So. And
because of this like heavy offense with lack of defense, we decided to put him in C-.
C-. So you're not in the bottom tier, Bam, okay? Don't think you're in the bottom tier. And like we said, all these teams are incredibly, incredibly viable, especially given the matchup, so.
Yeah, like you could prepare some offense to do really well.
Yeah, and I mean, as you saw from this, he clearly did week 1 with Kartana.
Yeah.
Scarf Kartana's good. That's all there is to it. Austin it is. Austin, here comes the logo, guys.
The best logo to ever exist.
Prepare your eyes for this brilliance.
Dude, what a draft name. Dude, like,
oh no, that's not an updated logo, but it's okay. You get the point. What were you saying?
Dude, if Austin joined like some online league, like on YouTube, he'd probably like this logo would probably get banned on like at least 1 or 2 videos.
I know that DLC like banned certain logos that were kind of similar to this in the past. But
yeah, I'm
trying to have a little more fun with this league, and you know what? I don't think there's anything really that inappropriate about this. So
yeah. Let's look at Austin's team.
Yeah, let's check out the team. Megazord X, that's what I drafted last season.
It's very, 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 very good.
Very good in draft league. Very, very good. Better than I think it's better even than it would be just on the ladder in draft league. Yeah. Opportunity to Dragon Dance with Tough Claw's ability.
Yeah, and also knowing how much bulk to run on Charizard matters a lot, which you can customize in draft.
Yeah, if you're not encountering a rock move in your base form, like you can tank a lot of hits. And that's the other cool thing about this league is that you don't have to Mega Evolve first turn, so if you're expecting incoming ground type moves, you can make the call to leave it as regular Charizard too.
Yeah, you did that to me.
I did that to you.
I had to do some like fancy plays to get around it.
I actually did that like twice or 3 times last season. Some of them worked out better than the others, but
yeah, I think one of them you set up to +6 and then you like half choked.
I choked it. Yeah, I didn't even need to set up to +6. And I got KO'd by Mega Alt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyhow, that's not here nor there. Landorus T, a very good mon to pair with Megazard.
Yeah, Blissey's good. Like you can teleport.
Yep.
That's very good.
Hatterene does provide a Trick Room variety if you want to go with something like that.
I think it's mainly to stop hazards, and Calm Mind's pretty good.
Yeah, the Magic Bounce could be very important, especially when you're sporting a Zard.
Yeah, Virizion very good. Mr. Rhyme is actually good on this team. It's actually a good mon. Mr. Rhyme is good.
It's decent in draft, yeah. I think tier 4 is an appropriate
boots,
spot.
Rapid spin, the coverage, very nice.
Yeah, if you need an emergency spinner, it's for sure able to do that.
Altari's a good trap mon.
Terry's a good trap mon. It's a little more one-dimensional because that set's been pretty well revealed these days, but I also think it has a place if you're fighting a weather team, perhaps.
Maybe, but not really. Not
really.
Not in singles.
Yeah, not so much in singles. You're right.
And then Toxapex is a good defensive mon, but again, since it's draft, it can be exploited.
Yeah, especially when you got Zard and Toxapex having similar ground type weaknesses.
The teacup is actually pretty nice. You can set up a shell smash.
Yeah, situationally, you can make sure you're breaking through opposing teams or even just sweeping if you can get the right.
Drapion and Circuitry. Circuitry is good.
Circuitry's great. Here's kind of one of the main issues I have with a team that's sporting things like Poltegeist, etc. Drapion I actually also had last season, and it probably underperformed a little bit. Yeah, I was amazed to pick it up in 4th. Yeah, tier 4, it's a good pickup, don't get me wrong, because it does give you access to toxic spikes, allow you to absorb toxic spikes. I think he is missing a bit of momentum here, in my opinion.
He has a lot of momentum. Like teleport, U-turn. Actually, yeah, that's really much it. Teleport, U-turn. And
Volt Switch with Zerks, but I mean,
that's an offensive.
Yeah, you're not going to want to be clicking that. You're not going to want to be clicking that most of the time. And Blissey is pretty easily exploited in Draft League too.
Yeah. It's overall still a really threatening draft that covers a lot of different bases and uses like very good mons. But again, like the lack of complete momentum, Lander's T can be worn down, Hatterene can be worn down, Virizion needs to set. I mean, he ran Choice Band and got a ton of kills, but still, like, not the strongest mon.
It's not the strongest.
Toxapex can be exploited. And overall, his main offense relies in Charizard X or an offensive Lander's T, and because of that, we decided to put him in A.
Yeah, like you said,
he has a lot of impact mons that do synergize pretty well together.
They really do. Actually, it's funny that you say this. The more I look at his team, the more I'm like, this is almost like a mimic of my team, similar to a mimic of my team last year, because I had Zardex, I had Drapion, I had Virizion too. Virizion it can heal if it gets the right matchups. Don't sleep on it.
Yeah, Virizion's nice.
Don't sleep on it at all. But yeah, we had him in A. So
yeah, let's look at Jake.
All right, Jake. And the Chicago Scrafties. So yeah, this is the Mega Bro team.
Yeah, Mega Slowbro and Rain.
Yeah, this is the other Rain team, guys, in case you weren't aware.
This Rain team is very, very offensive. Barraskewda, Regieleki, Celesteal gives you, and Thunderous Incarnate gives you a really strong offensive core, but because of that, like Mega Bro isn't as good, and then otherwise his team like defensively falls apart. And since Rain is exploitable and Rain is his like main mode of offense here, it's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, that's the thing about this team is, yeah, there's a lot of really great things you can look at. Even Scolipede is like a faster, really strong offensive mon, even if you want a Toxic Spike stack or something like that.
It's really Barraskewda just spam a Banded.
Yeah, exactly. In the Rain, the issue is if you're building a team with these mons, I think you're gonna have a really hard time countering opponents who have good electric type offensive output.
And also opponents are just prepared for this. Like if you put this on the ladder, it'd do really well, but in draft it like completely falls apart.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I definitely even would like question. I mean, you could ladder with this team. You definitely could, but
I'm playing them next week, this upcoming week. So
you're gonna want to bring Mega Bro. You're gonna want to bring Celesteela most of the time. You're gonna want to bring your Rain Setter and Politoed. You're gonna want to bring Barraskewda right there. You're looking at like 4 electric weaknesses, in my opinion, and that's he just doesn't have the cores that you really want to see to build a balanced team, in my opinion. So as good as your offensive output may be, there's only so much you can overcome.
Yeah, like you want Politoed to be your main like water type, but then you have Mega Bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if this team had a Mega Altaria, it'd be a lot better.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that, definitely.
Like Mega Altaria would like up this team like 2 tiers.
For sure.
But because of that, we decided to put him C-.
I'll be honest with you guys, I was hard pressed to put this one in C-. I wanted to put it in D, but
yeah,
it's okay.
Because his Rain mode like is pretty threatening offensively, so you can't put him in D.
Solid. Yeah, definitely, exactly. It's like as much as you want to just write him off, like you can't do it.
The offense like pushes him up.
Yeah, exactly. So now we are going over to Anders. I think there's a little typo on this one too.
Oh god.
Oh god, what have I done? It's okay. It's okay.
Oh my. Okay.
But
Let's
he
look
is,
at his team.
yeah, the SK Fire Wolves. Let's see here. Yeah, so this team actually is another one of those teams for me that you slap on paper and you're like, this team is really, really good.
But then once you break it down, you're like, slightly not as good as you think it is, but it's still really good.
I agree, yeah, exactly. I mean, you're looking at things like Sableye that can get fairly whittled. Yanmega, I think he actually might have made a free agency move with today.
It's a tinted lensmon. That doesn't get quiver dance, but still.
Also get speed boost if you want to do something like that, you know. Yeah, Scizor is another defogger for him.
A really good defensive one, like to pair with a Chansey and Galarian Bro and Tangela even. It's just that core is slightly passive outside of Scizor.
I do think that he's gonna have some difficulties keeping hazards off the field.
For sure, I think he can keep the hazards off. It's just
the fact that he's going to have to waste a turn to do it, basically, is the issue, I think. Because things like Togekiss, it's good as a defogger in draft, but you have to be really careful.
It does get overwhelmed. Togekiss gets overwhelmed.
It does.
Scizor is like his best defogger, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And that's the thing is, like, there's going to be a lot of times where you want to make Scizor offensive, but you're going to have to throw defog on there, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And, like, his defensive core, like his offense doesn't really make up for the support that his defense gives. Like he can slowly get whittled down, but overall Dragapult's like one of the best offensive mons. Mamoswine hits everything hard. Yeah. And his defensive core is pretty solid. And then Mega Kangaskhan's pretty good too. And because of that, we decided to put him as, I think, B+.
I do believe we put him in B+ tier, yep.
Yeah, it's a very good draft.
Very good draft. I agree with you. There's just certain things that, like, you look at things like Tangela, it sounds like a really cool mon to fill out your core, but again, it's going to get overwhelmed. It's going to get overwhelmed a lot of the time. So
it's very, very passive.
Yeah.
Like you can, it prompts a free substitute.
Free substitute, certain free setups. Yeah.
Yeah, like I run a lot of substitute on my team, so I do know.
Well, I guess, yeah, after looking at Anders' team, which is very, very good in my opinion, don't get me wrong, we can move on to Matthew. And the Brooklyn Mantikes, right there.
That's the same Matthew from all the other seasons, right?
Correct. Yes. This is the other Matthew.
Yeah. So Matthew's draft.
This is okay. This is like I want to draft this team. I like this team a lot in terms of its bulk. That's what you can really admire about this team, I think.
The potential to hazard stack it and then have and then its offense is decently nice in Victini and Ambipom and like the slower stuff, but it's not like the fast offense you want and can get like pretty much steamrolled by some sort of setup or hazard stack.
Yeah, its speed tier is gonna hold it back a bit here.
Yeah,
I do think
Vinny and draft, in my opinion, is not very good.
Is that really how you feel?
Yeah, because you can pretty much overwhelm it in draft. It's not like OU where the taunt calm mindset beats a lot of common stuff. Like it's more of a meta call in my opinion.
Well, what I will say is I do think, I mean, the ability for it to use hidden power, of course, is nice, but it is a great defogger, and it does get haze, I believe. So if you want to try and set up in its face, it could potentially stop that if you are running the right set.
Yeah, but then at that point, Finny's pretty passive.
Which is what I think, yeah, it does a lot of that.
Like a lot of the team is very passive outside of like Victini dealing all the damage, but you really want Victini to deal a lot of damage and then open yourself up to like a Lopunny attack.
Yeah, this team is a little bit
passive. It doesn't really take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And because of that, we decided to put him in D. It's still possible to make. It's very possible to make playoffs. It's still a strong team, but like compared to the others, we decided to leave it as D.
Yeah, like I said, this is the type of team I would personally like to pilot, honestly. Because I do think it has opportunity to shut down a lot of things with things like Tangrowth. People don't expect it to be as physically bulky as it is. Nice recovery. He does have decent pivoting, too. I mean, to be quite frank with you, with Tapu Fini, Dragalge, if you really wanted to. Mesprit.
Tapu Fini does not pivot, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Porygon 2 pivots, but it's
Porygon
like,
2 pivots.
Passive.
Yeah, Tapu Fini does not get flip turn. Why do it's Primarina gets flip turn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Prim gets flip turn. Right.
Yeah, but
Ambipom, Golbat, though, I'll keep going on. There's more pivots.
Yeah. Also, you do have the potential to set a Trick Room with Porygon too, and then just run through with a Choice Spec Strigology.
Yeah, that is a really good gambit that you could go for there, as his team is a lot slower, so.
Yeah.
But anyhow, definitely going to be, yeah, one of the lower ranked teams, I think, just taking a look at those Mons as themselves.
Now we look at Daniel, the one I played week 1.
You played Daniel week 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a difficult team to prep for, I'll say that.
Oh, do you say so? Because I'm playing him this week, actually.
Ooh, have fun. It's a decently strong team.
It is. I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. But anyhow, he decided to go for Mega Banette to get those extra points.
And that was very worth. Banette is pretty bad outside, like the fact that he has Zygarde and Keldeo is so good for him.
Banette is, yeah, it's bad, but it can be annoying if you give it the right prankster movesets. You know, things like Thunder Waves, Will-O-Wisps, Destiny Bonds can cripple certain Mons and maybe take them on with it. Shadow Claw, it has a really great base attack, so Shadow Claw is going to hit good if you can get one off. Yeah. And Shadow Sneak is valuable in some ways too, of course.
Let's look at his team defensively first.
Yeah.
So between Moltres, Diancie, Zygarde, and even Keldeo. Keldeo's not defensive mon, but it does give you good defenses overall. It's a pretty strong core. It can be exploited, right? Because Pharaoh Seed's not that bulky.
No.
And then
Diancie, yeah, is bulky as well, but that quad weakness really hurts it. There's a lot of super effective coverage moves that can take on Diancie.
Yeah, and same for Moltres.
A little bit too slow to be really useful in some ways, yeah.
Yeah, Moltres is a good defensive mon though. Like, I was actually going to draft it, but he sniped me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But yeah, like his defenses are strong, but they aren't like completely strong. And then his fast mode and setting up sticky webs and going Nihilego, Hoopa, Unbound is very nice. Like I had to run 2 heavy duty boots mons on Zero R and Greninja to do well into this team, and then I had to run Trick Room.
Oh, you ran a Trick Room against him?
Yeah, I originally the plan was to like Trick Room Melmetal him, but then it ended up being my Altaria was agility into him. But then it wasn't that speed invested, so it just swept under Trick Room at the end.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I think that he has the offensive output is definitely there. I mean, you're looking at things like Keldeo, you're looking at things like obviously Nihilego, Hoopa U, Rabombi can set up quivers, of course.
And then his favorite penguin,
Ice Cube. He always drafts Ice Cube.
And it does well.
It does. It surprises people. People don't know how Ice Cube works a lot of the time.
Remember Matt Harris? Just like a stupid penguin.
That was like, oh, that was like
overwhelmed is a Hey Spinny.
Yeah, that's the killer, man. That's the killer. Yeah, I think he does have the opportunity to put up hazards and things like that. It's a really actually good-looking team for the most part.
Yeah, it's just not as many impact mons.
Yeah, I think things like Diancie aren't going to be super impactful.
Yeah, and it is defensively exploitable, as I was able to do.
Yeah, definitely. It relies a lot more on its offense. A lot of great scarfers here, things like that. So.
Yeah, and because of that, we decided to put in B+.
Yep. Another.
It's a very well constructed team.
It is. It fills those cores. You know, it has the hazard users and defoggers, but.
We've also been on here for an hour, I believe, right?
Is that correct?
I think so. It's okay. Let's continue. 4 more.
Okay, 4 more.
Michael.
Good
VGC player.
Is he? I don't think I've ever played him.
Last VGC season, he was my only loss, so.
Wow. All right, so Michael here is doing the sun thing. He's having some fun in the sun.
Yeah, but the thing about his sun mode is he sets sun with Zard Y. Zard Y can be pretty weak to Stealth Rocks, and then Venusaur, he doesn't have that many turns to exploit, especially since Zard can't pivot.
Yeah.
His defenses in terms of pivoting's like pretty off, and also just overall defensively, it's not the best, right? Like Skarmory and Necrozma make a decent core, but like outside of that, like he just gets exploited hard throughout.
Yeah, I think Necrozma was a really good pick here for this
like
team.
Even Spectre in draft isn't the best.
No, I mean Spectre is always limited to what it can do, and in draft, I mean you can with priority and certain things, you can take it out pretty easily.
Yeah, like you can just I don't know. Like there was this time where I was trying to prepare for Spectre, I just brought a Scarf Ambipom.
Yeah.
With Pursuit.
Sure, absolutely.
Pursuit Ambipom. So
that's funny. That's
like
funny.
Stuff like that, right?
For sure. And then, I mean, you see he's got the double horses, but he also...
If this was VGC, that'd be so good. Just double horse and Zardwai, and then Venusaur.
And Venusaur, yeah, exactly. But here, I think Venusaur is like almost kind of a non-issue, as his Zardwai isn't going to be able to pack the Heat Rock.
Venusaur is very good defensively for him, but like...
Exactly. So you want it to fill that kind of role, but you also want it to be powerful in the sun.
Yeah.
Not sure, exactly how that works out. Against certain opponents, it may be really good, but I think against other people, it's going to really, really struggle. So.
And because of all this, we decided to tier him as D.
Yes, he is also going to end up in the lowest tier, unfortunately. And you know what? We do know, I will acknowledge that he was not able to draft with us for the most of the time, so he did end up picking up a lot after the draft. So kind of makes sense. And when you look at it that way, it's actually a pretty solid team in terms of synergy, that he was able to pick up those Mons.
Yeah.
Anyhow, next up we will go on to Kasim. And he is San Diego Wingles, I want to say. Yes.
Kasim. Is he the other guy from PTG, or is he someone else?
He is one of the PTG guys, absolutely.
Okay.
And yeah, he went with Mega Mane. He went with kind of a Sandrush Dracovish structure here too, with some terrains. It's kind of all over the board, it seems like.
Yeah, it's actually a strong team.
It's very strong. This team can do some work.
Yeah, like you have this pivoting options between Manectric and Rillaboom would synergize, while Tapu Lele, Dracovish deal a lot of damage. Mandibus is pretty nice defensively. Claydol's pretty nice defensively. Typhlosion's good offensively. Gigalith is nice. Crobat is slightly redundant, but yeah.
Crobat is slightly redundant with Mandibuzz, but I mean, yeah, if you get a certain matchup where flying types are good, you could definitely put it to use.
His offense is very good. I think it's some of the best offense, but defensively, his team is
lacking a little bit.
Exploitable, right? Like Registeel is not a good defensive mon in my opinion. Mandibuzz is his like premier defensive mon, but like outside of that, like it's not very good in that regard.
Registeel is a good defensive mon, but it doesn't have recovery, so I mean,
it's very passive.
You want to use it to set rocks and get yourself in certain. It is pretty passive. You're right.
Yeah, like his defensive core is exploitable, and then his like fast mode comes from Manectric and maybe Scarfing Lele or being in sand. And because of all that, we decided to put him as B+.
Yeah. Again, this is one of the most threatening teams, I think, for sure.
It's also one of the more well-constructed ones.
I agree. Like,
yeah. It had a lot of thought put into it.
Definitely.
Like you can look at all the mons and be like, yeah, like this guy chose this mon because of this.
I don't know how much he got sniped and had to kind of rebuild things, but I think the fact that he was able to adapt, it is a really amazing roster. Rillaboom Lele, I think that's just terrifying. You know what I mean?
It's some of the best offense paired with Manectric and Vish.
Agreed.
And like the Vish doesn't need to be in Sandrush.
No, it could be Scarf, or it could be, whatever. It could be something crazy like Assault Vest if you really wanted to.
Yeah, or like Substitute. Vish is nice.
Yeah, it could be a sub. That's true. That's true.
Blunder Policy.
Blunder Policy. Yeah. Oh man. So next up we've got Andy, the last of the PTG guys, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see. Andy, you are Las Vegas County?
I think so.
Something like that. I thought you were in Nevada County. That's what it is. All right. So yeah, this is a team that I actually had really, really highly ranked. I think I had this as one of my S tiers.
Yeah, but then I think you had him as A.
Okay, maybe it was an A. Yeah, it was kind of a slippery slope here.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice looking team. If you kind of look at the cores and the removal specifically, like that's...
Yeah, like Scizor, Latios, and Comfey form pretty nice core there.
And Volcanion's no slouch too. I mean, it
deals damage.
Deals damage. It's bulky. It is technically a defog option, if you want to run it that way. No recovery, so a little bit disappointing. Well, Water Absorb can help you with that.
Yeah. Also, a Shaman Tyranitar don't synergize that well, but he doesn't have. I don't think he's gonna run Sandrush T-Tar most weeks. It's gonna be on Nerve.
I mean, he definitely has the option to go with whichever one he wants, and Mega Scissor doesn't care if you do run Sandstorm, so that's nice, of course.
Yeah, but I think he's way better off running on Nerve.
Yeah. I do still see the opportunity for Shaman, honestly. I think Shaman is
very good.
I think it's undervalued a little bit, to be quite honest. Seed Flare is super spammable. It has access to all the hidden powers, Earth Power as well. Yeah, just a really, really good mon.
Yeah. I guess overall, it's not like his team's not completely like good offensively, and also defensively is slightly exploitable.
It leaves a little bit to be desired in defense, I think. I mean, Corsola, you're seeing, you know, that's kind of his wheelhouse. Yeah, very passive, and that's one of the only really strong defensive mons he has. Plus, you know, you knock it off, and that's half the battle right there.
Yeah, like Scissor's not the best defensively in draft.
No, not Megasis especially, I think. It can play a defensive role, you know, but I think it's much better if you can get it set up and start dishing out attacks. So
the guy who used Mega Scissor last time was like a very, very, very good player, and even he was like Scissor slightly like difficult to use for him.
For sure. Yeah, he was a very top tier player, yeah.
Yeah, like he's like a rune level, so I definitely like to say that.
Lots of love for Arun today.
Yeah, Arun is good.
Okay, well, we're gonna give yes, he is. Sorry, not okay. Yes, he is good. But we will give Andy, I think, a B- on our scale here. Filling out a lot of the cores you like to see, just leaving a little something to be desired in the offense and defensive aspects.
Yeah. So let's look at Scott.
Scott. Yeah.
Scott. Super cool guy.
Oh god, I love Scott, dude. Such a good attitude.
Yeah.
This guy just loves draft leagues. All right. So Scott went with another one of those kind of off-the-wall picks in Mega Pidgeot.
Mega Pidgeot is good.
Yeah, kind of underrated a little bit in my opinion.
Like no guard Hurricane.
Yeah, that's
also,
I mean,
the ability to like ruse substitute and then fire off Hurricane is really nice. Right?
Yeah, and a really great speed tier.
Yeah, like all you need is Hurricane, Heat Wave, maybe ruse substitute.
Yeah, you don't need that many attacks with Pidgeot. You're so right. And I mean, you can run U-turn as well if you want to have like a more pivoting version that just comes in and hits things and you can get out of there. So you're not gonna have to worry.
Ruse Defog, but like you won't be running Defog on that most of the time.
Usually you don't. I find that in your Mega that you usually don't end up running it quite as much. But yeah.
Because he's weak to Stealth Rocks on Pidgeot, you don't want to be running the Defog there. And that leads to his first problem.
Stealth Rocks, right?
Yeah, and Mew is forced to be his defogger unless he wants to go Honchkrow there and double up on some weaknesses.
Yeah, Honchkrow does not make for a very good defogger. Its speed tier doesn't lend to it, and it's not especially bulky either.
Yeah.
So I think you'll definitely see Mew running that. Also, he does have Rapid Spin in Sandslash. But
yeah, but that's a bad Rapid Spinner.
Yeah, agreed.
That wants to be running Sword Stance substitute to attacks.
Yeah, you're going to be wanting to run that offensively alongside that Alolan Ninetales, right?
Yeah, like you might be wanting like leftover Sword Stance, that kind of stuff.
That being said, like you look at this team and you can see that the offensive output is actually there.
It's very threatening. Like Honchkrow, Jolteon, Mega Pidgeot, Kyurem Black, even Ninetales, Mew is very unpredictable. Urshifu Rapid Strike's very good there. Honchkrow, Tauros.
All really great offensive mons.
Yeah, and his defense has some structure. Like between Kyurem Black and Vaporeon, it's actually a pretty strong core.
For sure. Yeah, I think he's missing his cores to some degree. He doesn't have a grass type, but I do think that grass type is kind of one of the more negligible types that you need to consider. Grass. You don't absolutely have to have it.
Yeah.
And Vaporeon, really great defensive mon, really great wish passer.
Yeah, Vaporeon and Kyurem Black and Mew form a good defensive core.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's still exploitable, and because of that, we put him as B-.
B-. So yeah, just kind of right above the middle of the pack there, you know, along with those kind of more unpredictable teams that are just really hard to prep for, but maybe don't apply as much pressure in certain factors that they should. So what do you think about how everything shakes out here?
I think we made good decisions. We debated over this for at least an hour and a half, and we made a lot of changes, so.
We did.
This is our final result.
Some teams dropped and some teams rose really drastically, but as you can see, the distribution actually looks pretty even.
Yeah, and also originally our tiers were S, A, B, C, and D, but then we had to split them up because we thought that certain teams were better than others within the tier.
It was really difficult to delineate between A and S and then some of the B, C tiers. So yeah. We ended up splitting them up a little bit more.
Overall, every team has potential to make playoffs and do well.
I think I think this looks good. I think that every team drafted really, really well and has already made transactions to improve their teams, your team included, so.
Yeah, like mine was an A-tier team until like dropped Infernape and Quilladin for Talonflame and Hitmonlee.
And I do think that Hitmonlee was a huge upgrade to Quilladin for sure, so.
Yeah, because Hitmonlee, and then Talonflame was just better on my team than Infernape.
Definitely.
It's a good defensive mon. It's decently offensive.
Yeah, and the speed tier was more where it needed to be, I think, with that mon. So
yeah.
But well, thanks for joining me, man. Hopefully, you guys all enjoy this tier list. I'm hoping to try and do a mid-season update with some trades and transactions, and just kind of seeing where the rankings are shaking out later on down the road. But for now, guys, I think we're gonna sign out. Thanks for watching, and hopefully, you do enjoy this season of the SSPL. Peace out.